Hey guys, Philosopher here, and today I'm going to talk to you about some upcoming changes to Alliance War, some news from the devs. You know, I made a video a while back, which I've linked below, which I talked about an Alliance War playtest that I was part of. My alliance did it. There was a few other alliances in there, and there was a bunch of changes that they made to War as part of that playtest. And I know these got leaked very quickly. They were later reported, and people were incorrectly saying that these were going to go into the game as we tested them. That was false. Okay, that was not true. I've tried to clarify that as much as possible. The devs told me that they had learned some lessons from our feedback and weren't going to be doing that. So today I actually have some news to break to you about what the devs have told us about what they're going to do. But there's still more testing to be done. So it's not imminent, but I want to tell you kind of where they're at. But what I'm going to do first is run through very briefly what happened during the last playtest so you can see kind of what was there before and then what they're telling us, what the reactions are to it now. So in the last playtest, we had two additional rooms that could be purchased. So you were purchasing these with what's called Alliance credits. Those are those things that you get that you could also use for Stark Tech or whatever that you get from the donations. You could purchase these 2 slots essentially for your room, right? So if that member purchased those slots, then you'd have 2 extra slots in the room and 10 instead of 8. The new slots didn't earn points, but they did earn war currency. So you'd have this weird situation where you'd attack and kill a team in war. You would get the war currency for it, but you wouldn't get the points. So, those people in your alliance who are the MVP hunters who are always trying to, find the biggest teams to get their MVP, they wouldn't want to attack those slots. It's a little weird. Bridge buffs were removed. So you know how it gives, I think, counter was removed. Now it's replaced with the cargo bay buffs, the buffs where, it gives a whole bunch of random positive effects. And instead, cargo bay's buffs were removed and replaced with plus 20% to all stats for what they called war-ready characters. In other words, forcing us to bring our characters to ISO 4 green. So any character that was ISO 4 green is now war-ready. This is their way of forcing you to not only bring your Doom Raid characters up to ISO 5, but to try to bring your war characters all to ISO 4. And then you also got 10% to all stats from Hangar for war-ready characters. So what it really meant was plus 30% to all stats, which meant tons of resists, and it really did change up war quite a bit. It was more defense-oriented from what I saw, without a doubt, in terms of the impact of those global rooms. It also meant that you now had a way more of a boost that you were getting from those global rooms than you had before. So instead of just Armory, Hangar, Medbay, Barracks, then you had 2 others to work to try to get through. You also started with 3 war energy because you had 2 extra slots for war. So you had to, beat more teams. It took longer to get through war. But then at the same time, it was going quicker because you were allowed to attack 3 slots at a time instead of 2. So they would have the benefit you didn't have to wait for a slot to open up if your alliance was all attacking, but you were clearing 50% as fast. So if your alliance wasn't online, if you guys were asleep, you could wake up and all your globals would be gone, right? So what happened? What happened? Well, I will tell you right now, the feedback was super negative. We all hated it. It just meant that war was going to be more of, an activity measurement. Where are you online? Are you there for hours? Are you putting tons of time in? And so, we really gave negative feedback. And here I have for you today some responses from the devs to us on our feedback. So first of all, they said that they thought that the feedback we gave them was very helpful, but they're going to need another play test because clearly they have to make some changes. So they are not going to go live with the changes that they had proposed. They also said that based on the feedback they got from us, they are no longer going to try to make wars a lot longer. Like originally what they were going to try to do is the goal was to make wars last a long time. And they are going to explore giving you just a lot extra. They're exploring giving players war energy at an accelerated rate to just make the process go by faster, so you have to spend less time staring at your phone. They also said that they are not considering any other room buff changes at this time, but they may circle back to it in the future. They also said that the war-ready rooms are going to, that looks like that's still in there, but they said they at this time don't have plans to edit that ISO requirement up. It looks like not or down. They said the room bonuses could scale in the future, but they don't have any plans right now to increase the ISO 8 requirement for the war-ready bonuses. They said that based on the feedback they got from us, now every player is going to receive the 2 extra slots for free, and they're going to be identical to the original 8 defense slots. So you're going to earn both points and credits. So that first point is invalid, and the first point you don't need to purchase anymore, so you don't need to be saving all these. If anybody was telling you to save up your war credits or star credits, you don't need to anymore. The new, that whole issue in the second bullet point is no longer an issue. They also are considering letting players upgrade their maximum war energy capacity. That's something they're thinking about, whether they want to have done. And they're really not sure whether or not they want to have players purchase upgrades at all. They want to get feedback on that subject. They also they're considering whether or not they should be giving more energy to players to compensate for more rooms that are needed to clear. And so they do think that increased war energy generation will show up in the next playtest. And, so that's something they're exploring. Now, one question that we had was, why do you guys want to change war at all? Because we were pretty happy with war as is. And they said there's 3 factors. 1, they want war to feel, quote, fresh and provide new challenges. 2, they want to streamline the war experience within the first few hours of play. I like that in terms of just getting this thing over with. So we're not, up all night doing war. Either that or just make it 24 hours. You could do it whenever. Okay, that's fine too. Just make it something you could do when you have time. And 3rd, they want to, quote, make improving your entire roster feel more rewarding, unquote. In other words, they want to basically force us to invest resources in more characters. Shocking. One person asked, is a surrender option being considered? They said not at the moment. They would have to explore that. They'll consider it. Then they said, will any future adaptive changes be? So then they're not sure how they're going to communicate changes in the future, but they're going to continue to have play tests. I will tell you guys, I am going to have a conversation with a key dev tomorrow about this. So what I'd be interested in is your thoughts on this. I got to tell you, here's my thoughts on war. I'll give you mine. I think if I had to say what the problem is with war right now, a couple problems. I mean, first of all, I think war is a great game mode. It's fun. A lot of people like it. So they need to be more focused on not screwing it up than making it better, right? So I think overall it's pretty good. But the issues with it right now are having to be online at certain times. I mean, alliances sometimes are like, okay, you got to be on at this hour to, at the start of the war or at the end of the war. We got a full clear at this time. I think that's nonsense. They need to end that. So they need to make it so that sort of stuff is not part of the experience, is not something that the system rewards. I also think that it should just be less time consuming in general. Right now, this game is way too time consuming. We're all trying to, live our lives, go out and see our kids' soccer games, go out and, go into the office now that we have to do whatever the issues that you've got in your life. Everyone's got things going on. You can't afford to spend hours and hours and hours on end dealing with this. So we want it to be less time consuming. It can't be like a second job. And the other thing I think with war, it really should be something where, players at any level can feel like they can be competitive in it. And I think right now the matchmaking is also a very significant issue that I've raised with the devs, and they have ignored. So I do think I'm going to raise those issues I just mentioned to you, but I am interested in your thoughts. So what I would really ask everyone to do is Please tell me in the comments below what you would change about war. And go to my Discord. I've linked it below. Give me your thoughts there. I'm going to share your thoughts to the devs tomorrow because, frankly, I really care a lot about expressing the community's view. I mean, I got to tell you, these any game, I've been playing online games for decades. They all have a limited shelf life. You can only play them for so long. And I've invested enough time into this game that I want it to be something that's actually fun for everybody. So let's get whatever input we can to these guys to try to make war as good of an experience as we can. All right, guys, let me know what you think. Very interested in your comments either below and on my Discord. And hey, if you like this video, smash that like button and subscribe to this channel as well. That wouldn't hurt either.